Penguin Random House presents Head Held High by Vishwas Nangre Patil. Read by Mayur Suvarna. Dedicated to the martyrs who sacrificed their lives for the country while bravely battling the terrorists on the fateful night of 26/11. Foreword by Julio Ribeiro, former police commissioner of Mumbai, February 22nd. Head Held High is the story of a simple village boy who made good. Born in rural Maharashtra, where the pinnacle of ambition is to become a police sub-inspector, Vishwas Nangre Patil, the protagonist of the tale, was selected for the prestigious Indian Police Service, where probationers begin life as assistant superintendents of police and at the end of their careers retire at the very top, if all goes well. Vishwas had the brains. He needed opportunity besides hard work and application of mind. Considering that his parents had hardly crossed the barrier of primary school, there was no one at home to mentor him. The closest to have had the fortune of a decent education was his father's brother, who studied basic engineering and was employed in an engineering company in a mid-level job. Vishwas Rao did get shelter and support at his uncle's home in a neighboring town when he entered middle school. But after that, he had to find his own way to continue his studies in high school. This final school lap he completed in Kolhapur, the big city closest to his village, Kokrud. The life of a young boy growing up in a village is described in minute detail in this book. To say the least, it is fascinating. The simple pleasures one experiences and the not-so-pleasant experience of being rammed and thrown into the air by a rampaging bull are detailed in this book. Fortunately, Vishwas Rao's physique, agility and presence of mind, which served him well during the ordeal of 26/11 at the Taj Hotel in 2008, saved him from being actually gored by that bull. At a very early age, our hero acquired the intellectual habit of reading. When he was engrossed in reading, neither hunger nor thirst could affect his concentration. The habit must have stood him in good stead in his plans for a future career. A shot at the UPSC's All India and Civil Services examinations requires not only above-average intelligence, but vast knowledge based on wide reading and the ability to analyze and take positions. After my commerce degree, I studied law. As soon as I cleared the LLB, I joined the National Standard, now renamed the Indian Express, as a sub-editor to expose myself to all that was happening in India and the world beyond. Vishwas Rao's preparation 5 decades later were more elaborate and much better planned. I had the advantage of an English education in a big city, Mumbai, and exposure to teachers and mentors who were always around to solve doubts. Finally, I spent 4 months at my maternal grandmother's home in her village in Goa, revising my stuff under the light of a Petromax, since there was no electricity in Goa's villages in 1952, when I appeared for the competitive examination. Vishwas Rao had to shift from hostel to hostel with numerous distractions to overcome, including at times rowdy visitors from the village. He had to make the most of his opportunities. He was lucky to meet some very successful and serious-minded personalities like the IAS officer Bhushan Gagrani, Dr. S.N. Patil, whom he refers to as Dr. Uncle in this book, and also 2 friends, Vikas Kharge and Prakash Pote, who like him were students at the government's pre-IAS training center in Mumbai. Kharge and Pote dissuaded him from wasting his time fruitlessly with rowdy rural boys who came to meet him at the hostel. Dr. Uncle inculcated in him good and healthy habits of hygiene and daily exercise, which stood him in good stead throughout his career. Vikas Kharge went on to top the IAS exam a couple of years before Vishwas Rao himself got selected. In his account of his efforts and struggles to achieve success, Vishwas Rao speaks to young men and women of rural background, egging them on to emulate him and march determinedly to the goal of becoming sahibs and madams. It is, as I said earlier, a fascinating account of the life of a young man growing up in a village whose steely determination and extraordinary courage aided him to become an IPS officer despite the odds stacked against him. That same village lad, now a Joint Commissioner of Police in Mumbai on 26 November 2008 at Mumbai's iconic Taj Mahal Palace Hotel, led his team of the Mumbai police against the Pakistani terrorists who had sneaked in and caused untold havoc and mayhem never before experienced. All his cognitive senses, developed from infancy in his native village, were in play at that critical time, when out-of-the-box thinking, quick decision-making, cautious but determined action, and above all, extraordinary leadership qualities were required. Vishwas Rao had all those qualities. They won him the President's Police Medal for gallantry. Some of my ex-colleagues, now retired, tell me that they have read another account in Hindi, written by a Maharashtra cadre IPS officer hailing from the Bhind-Morena dacoit-infested area of Madhya Pradesh. I have not read that account, but I was happy to learn that IPS officers from rural backgrounds are writing their stories. It will encourage boys and girls from the hinterland to enter the Class 1 services and thus introduce a measure of egalitarianism in our society. Before I end, I wish to record my deep appreciation of the skills displayed by Vinita Deshmukh and Prasanna Kumar Keskar in translating Vishwas Rao's book from Marathi into English. It was a pleasure to read the translated version. At no time did I feel bored. The narrative was almost racy, like an action movie. And to my friend Vishwas, I say this: now that you have shown your brothers and sisters of rural Maharashtra the way to advance in life, spend the rest of your life in the service of the people and guide future IPS officers on the path of truth, justice and integrity. For that is why the IPS was constituted by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, that great son of India. Preface by Vishwas Nangre Patil. My kaleidoscope. My ancestral village Kokrud is tucked atop a mountain range of the mighty Sahyadris, bordered by the river Varna. Every morning it wakes up to the sound of the azan, or prayer calls, emanating from a nearby mosque, or to the melodious recital of Jnaneshwari. The sounds of people professing different religions and of all communities living happily in harmony. Whenever I hark back to the past, I can hear my grandmother affectionately imploring me to eat bhakri with milk. I recall diving into the holes dug in the sandy riverbed during the summer. I can hear our cheerful cries when we caught tiny fish. I can hear the satisfied burps after polishing off the free glass of milk served as a part of the nutritious food scheme for school children. I recollect the thump on my back given by Tsaugale sir. I remember the barfi that was given even if one lost a wrestling match. I remember the recitation of the Marathi alphabet. I relive the rhythm of the raindrops falling on water puddles in the sugarcane fields. I remember the taste of the fresh sugarcane juice and relive jumping on the heaps of bagasse. The strong odor of the illicit liquor consumed on the day of the festival of Ganadevi, our village deity, lingers. I remember the puranpoli cooked by my mother. I recall the bullocks decorated to mark the Pola festival, dedicated to bullocks. I can again hear the beats of the halgi, an instrument akin to a drum, during lazim performances. I remember the pitter-patter of rolling caps and the booming sounds of Lakshmi bombs during Diwali. The memory of these sounds sometimes mingles with the sound of rounds fired at shooting practice during police training. Sometimes they merge with...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?